Good evening, Sister Jasmine. Good evening, Dharma brothers and sisters. Now let me share screen first. Tonight, my topic is on what were the challenges faced in the formation of the Bhikkhuni Order and how was the protection of this order reinforced by the Buddha. When I first saw this question, firstly, I knew that there were two parts to this question. The first part was on the challenges faced in the formation of Bhikkhuni Order, and then whether it was in India or whether we have the Bhikkhuni Order that was formed in Sri Lanka. So then we have the second part of this question that states that the protection of this order reinforced by the Buddha. Therefore, it has to be the formation or difficulties faced in the formation of Bhikkhuni Order in India. And that was how I would tackle this question, two parts to it. Okay, and let us look at the challenges faced in the formation of Bhikkhuni Order in India at the time. One, conditions at the 6th century. The birth of a son was an occasion for celebrations. People loved to have sons in those days. And then the birth of a daughter was definitely harsh. Okay, nobody would talk anything about it. The status of female was very low at the time. It was not something to celebrate about. And society was patriarchal at that time. Two, the males were prized. So when married, the birth of a son was definitely a happy occasion. And then they would have to go to war to defend the country and to conquer. So it was actually an honor for the family itself, you see. Then in the old days, at that time, only males, they felt that only males could send the souls of parents to the next world. And even the Atharva Veda carries a special rights for the procurement of even a son. Three, the status of women were prejudiced. There's no education for them, so women were not permitted to learn the three Vedas as they have no need for religious training. Example, they cannot become priests, they cannot perform any last rites for their parents. And the only way for heavenly rebirth is to be obedient to their parents. And women do not need to perform sacrifices or even religious rites. Obedience to their husband alone is sufficient for them to be born in heaven. And that's according to Brahmanism. Females are to be guarded. So Manusmriti, the Brahmin law code compiled between 500 to 300 BCE, devotes an entire chapter 9, to the laws pertaining to the females. 4, polygamy was practiced. Example would be Terry Upalavana related how a mother and daughter lived as co-wives of a husband. Then we have Terry Kissa Gotami. She related also sharing homes with hostile wives with bitter pain when giving birth. So females actually continued to household life, and many had to put up with the drudgery and hard work of domestic chores. So here's a quote from Mara to Terry Soma. Soma is a nun, and she's a Terry in the sense that she already had more than 10 vasas, like a senior nun kind of thing. That's how they are known as. And Mara is the bad one. And it is not possible for a woman with a 2-finger wisdom to attain enlightenment. So Mara actually said that to Terry Soma. So Terry Soma is a nun at that time who was meditating. And then Mara came to her and spoke these words to her. However, Terry Soma knew that that was Mara talking to her, and she told Mara that her mind is, whether she's a male or female, her mind is already established and she's not afraid. And then because of what she said to Mara, Mara actually quickly ran away. So that was how it was. And about this two-finger wisdom, well, in the old days, women would use two finger to actually put a needle, to actually put a thread into a needle to sew, right? And then also when they want to cook rice, they also use that two finger to measure the level of the water in the rice pot, right? To see how much water to put. So so they degraded women until we are only like two finger, you know. So they call us two finger wisdom. At that point in time, the women are so degraded. Okay, 5, Buddha's views on women. So Buddhism do not encourage war and violence, and hence was no demand for sons to fight. So neither does Buddhism advocate that only sons can transfer merits to departed relatives. Then at the time, King Pasenadi of Kosala was upset when his favorite queen Malika gave birth to a daughter. So he went to see the Buddha. Then Buddha said this to him: a woman's child, O Lord of men, may prove even better than a male, for she may grow up wise and virtuous. Her husband's mother reverencing the true wife. The boy that she may bear may do great deeds and rule great realms. Yea, such a son of a noble wife becomes the country's guide. And this quote was taken from Samyutta Nikaya on the chapter on daughter. Another quote from the same Samyutta Nikaya: whatever beautiful things are in the world, they are not in themselves lustful things. It is the greedy thoughts of men which makes them lustful. 6, only first lay female disciples at that time, and there was no nuns. And the first upasika were Venerable Yasha's mother and his former wife. 7 was the persistency of Maha Pajapati Gotami. She's very persistent, and that's how eventually we had the formation of the Bhikkhuni Order. Let's take a look at the background. Maha Pajapati Gotami is actually the stepmother of Buddha. At that point in time, her husband, King Sudana, just passed on, and she's alone in the whole palace. And together with all the other Sakyan ladies, their husbands all went to become monks in the Sangha order already. So therefore, they're all women all around in the palace. So they felt that they should also join the Sangha order. However, Maha Pajapati Gotami was refused 3 times by the Buddha. So she was very sad, sorrowful, in tears, sobbing. She left the presence of the Buddha. And we can find a quote in that in Anggutta Nikaya in the Book of Eats. Okay, under chapter 8 itself. Then, okay, so Buddha one day left for Vasali. And then Maha Pajapati Gotami, with a large retinue of Sakya ladies, well, what they did, they shaved their heads, they donned the yellow garments, and followed Buddha to Vasali. With their bare feet clad in dust and swollen, they waited outside the Kutagara hall where the Buddha was. Then this time, Venerable Ananda saw it, and Venerable Ananda again went to ask Buddha, but he was turned down 3 times. Then Venerable Ananda thought, maybe he should ask Buddha from a different angle. So he asked, can a female attain the different stages of sainthood? Then the Buddha said yes. So finally, the Buddha acceded. The Buddha agreed to meet the women, provided that the women accept the 8 strict conditions, or Atta Garuda Dhamma, also known as the 8 principles of respect. You see, women had to respect the male. Otherwise, there would not be law and order, even in the Sangha institution itself. So now let's take a look at the 8 strict conditions taken from Anggutta Nikaya, chapter 8. Number 1, a bhikkhuni who has been ordained for 100 years should pay homage to a bhikkhu who has been ordained that same day, should rise up for him reverently, salute him, and behave courteously towards him. The principle should be honored, respected, esteemed, and venerated, and should not be transgressed as long as life lasts. 2. A bhikkhuni should not enter upon the reins in a place where there are no bhikkhus. This principle should be honored and esteemed. 3. Every half month, a bhikkhuni should ask the sangha of the bhikkhus about two things: the day of the uposatha and about coming for exhortation, instruction, or advices. 4. When a bhikkhuni has observed the reins, she should invite correction before both sanghas in regard to three things: anything seen, heard, or suspected to point out the faults. 5. A bhikkhuni who has committed a grave offense should observe a half month's penalty period before the both sanghas. 6. A probationer who has completed 2 years of training in the 6 principles should seek full ordination from both sanghas. 7. A bhikkhuni must in no way insult or revive a bhikkhu. 8. Bhikkhunis are prohibited from admonishing bhikkhus, but bhikkhus are not prohibited from admonishing the bhikkhunis. This principle should be honored, respected, esteemed, and venerated, and should not be transgressed as long as life lasts. So Mahapajapati, Gotami, and the rest of Sakyan ladies accepted the 8 strict conditions and hence became the first females to form the order of the Bhikkhuni nuns. Conclusion. The 8 strict rules imposed by the Buddha on the bhikkhunis were to ensure healthy continuation of the monastic institution. He wanted the monks who were more long-standing and experienced to guide the newly established order of nuns. In accepting the females into order, the Buddha promoted the cause of rights of females for emancipation. Just as the ocean has one taste of salt, doctrine, and discipline, have the taste of emancipation for both male and female. Mahapajapati, Gotami, and many of the Sakyan ladies eventually attained arahatship. And to end my topic, I would like to end with a Dhammapada verse 100. Better than 1,000 utterances comprising useless words is one single beneficial utterance by hearing which one is calmed. And on that note, thank you all for listening. Thank you.